Welcome to Global Topic. Today is Monday, March 8th, 2021. Today is International Women's Day. And my guest today would be Dr. Shyama. We'll be talking about protective coatings and mechanical stress. I hope you enjoy this episode. Welcome, Dr. Shyama.
Thank you so much, James, for having me here today.
Hey, I really appreciate having you today. So everyone knows today being Monday, March 8th is International Women's Day. And what's beautiful about this day is that I get a chance and an opportunity to interview you. I follow you both on YouTube, LinkedIn, and I really appreciate all the content, but all the technical information and also the lessons that you're doing for the industry. You're doing a very awesome job, and I really appreciate having this opportunity to interview you today.
Thank you. Thank you so much. It is really encouraging to hear that industry people do really like my lessons. Thank you so much.
So when it comes to corrosion protection strategy for buried pipelines, why is a balanced approach of using cathodic protection, or CP as it's known in the industry, and protective coatings best?
So CP and coatings are like friends and enemies. They are friends most of the times, but if the CP goes over a certain limit, if it crosses its limit, they go into the enemy zone. So CP current should basically be understood as an inflow of positive ions through the coating, which usually take water with them. And this is referred to as electroosmosis. So there are three main problems that this causes. One is cathodic delamination, second is hydrogen embrittlement, and the third is a collection of hydrogen gas, which is said to lead to a delamination of coating, but there are studies that still debate that particular topic. And there's the other range where you have a shielding coating that absolutely does not allow any CP currents to go through it. So even you have a bit of water collection underneath, you do not have any protective currents for the pipeline. So that's why you need to have a correct balance between CP and the coatings. So you have to have either an optimum CP potential, or you choose a coating which matches the CP current as well as the application.
So as a published author in Progress in Organic Coatings, you, along with two other industry experts, published an article on coating degradation of epoxy coatings. Could you cover the critical elements of your published findings?
Sure. So I did my work as PhD student with the Australian Energy Pipeline CRC, and I was fortunate to work with esteemed industry people and excellent advisors. So we focused on the effect of mechanical stress and cathodic protection on coating degradation. Now, the paper that you are talking about specifically focused on the mechanical stresses in the very low plastic regions, because these low plastic region may or may not really work, and it usually takes place in pipeline hydrotesting or in the usual pipeline procedures like bending, horizontal drilling. But the thing that we observed was that there were very, very nano-sized cracks that developed in micro-sized pores. And we observed this when we did in situ tensile testing inside a scanning electron microscopy chamber. So we were able to observe the quick transition in that crack when we went from elastic loop plastic region. Further, in the longitudinal section, we found that there were huge cracks, but they did not extend entirely to the substrate, and some just lie along the edges of fillers and the coating. So these kind of cracks do not really get detected using the usual holiday testing methods. But when we actually tested such low plastic strained coated samples on our specially constructed rig, we found that the electrochemical impedance spectroscopy actually could quantify the degradation over a period of 26 days, and even the low plastic stresses where you do not observe the cracks at all, or you may not really realize that they are there, they could still cause a huge degradation as compared to a non-stressed coating. So that was a really interesting part that we observed.
Doctor, let me ask you this question, regarding this paper, Progress in Organic Coatings. Is that still available for people to purchase and download?
It is available, yes. They can definitely find it on the Progress in Organic Coatings website. And I'm always here to discuss with them the critical issues if they have any.
Great. So for the viewers, what I'll do is I'll put a link in the video description that takes you to Progress in Organic Coating, so you could take a look at the paper for purchase and download. So, let's focus now on the conclusions that were presented in your research and the published findings.
Sure. So this publication was more on the effect of mechanical stresses, but we also did some extra work where we exposed the same stressed coating to a CP potential as well. And there we found that when we had the optimum level of CP, that is approximately what the criteria suggests, the CP led to an increase in the coating impedance. But when we went to really negative potentials, as we usually see the problem is, we in fact found a reduction in the impedance of the coating. So even in the mechanically stressed condition, even when we do not really have coating delamination or any visible crack, even in that condition, we still see the effect of a very negative potential of CP. So that was really critical in our entire findings.
So, Doctor, I've had the opportunity to have communication with several of the students that have taken your courses and things like that. How frequently are you doing everything online now, or how frequently are you offering courses?
So I do everything online, and I have 4 courses right now. First is for basics of corrosion. I usually encourage people to attend that because that will help them to look at the further courses easily. But even if they choose to attend the other courses, I still cover a bit of basics of corrosion in that anyway. So the other 3 courses are related to coatings, cathodic protection, and chemical treatment. And my focus is mainly to tell them how researchers present their findings in the papers and how they can use those results to formulate their industry processes. So it really helps me when I ask them what their requirement is. And when they tell me that they have a certain issue or they would like to understand a certain concept, I customize the course accordingly so that it is more useful to them. Because my point is that there are 2 different communities here where research really do not understand industry requirements, and industry people do not understand what research people are saying. So my point is to show them that you can actually use each other's findings and lead to a better corrosion protection process overall. So that is the motive, and that is why none of my courses, I've now, for the basics of corrosion, I have conducted 6 batches. I've had at least 1 or 2 per batch, and none of them have been exactly the same. Some of them have been an overview for those which included only students. Some of them had industry people, so I customized them to oil and gas. One was solely for automotives, one was solely for paint supervisors, so that there are different modes where I can customize the process so that it is completely useful to them and they can be independent, so they do not have to really go and check out the literature every now and then. They can take the information and use them whenever they wish to.
Yeah, in your role, as an educator, you have proven yourself to be a very important bridge between the research aspect of corrosion and coatings to the practical side, and that being either through industry or actually when people are doing work in the field, either mitigating corrosion through CP, or if they're looking at protective coatings to bring on. So, I will make sure that I also to include your LinkedIn profile or link for your profile, but also have contact information for you as well, because I do encourage people who are watching this episode, if you're really looking at, the aspect of the international aspect, especially more than anything, of cathodic protection, protective coatings, Doctor, what you're doing is very important and critical, as a bridge in our industries, let's say corrosion and protective coatings. Doctor, what a great conversation this has been. In closing out this episode, is there anything that we did not talk about that you would want to leave with the viewers?
There's just one thing that I have been really stressing on since my work during my PhD, and that's this. There are separate mechanical tests for coatings and separate corrosion tests for coatings. My findings showed that if you actually design a particular test where you combine both, and you use them for industrial testing, or even if you use them to qualify coatings in the laboratory, they would give a more realistic view of the coating life and coating failure. So that is what I propose to the viewers or to the organization, that I would really like if they can work with me, or even if they have a separate research group which focuses on combining the three aspects of environment, mechanical stress, and CP, and use those three aspects to design a particular test for the coatings.
Very good, very good. And Doctor, I appreciate the opportunity also in April on Global Topic Live on LinkedIn. You're going to participate in a panel of women in corrosion and coatings. And
thank you so much. I look forward to it.
Thank you very much. There's a lot more work that needs to be done to promote women, not only in the industries of corrosion and protective coatings, but in the leadership that that needs to come out of both industries. Also, for the viewers, I'll make sure that I put links to your YouTube channel as well. And the information you've been putting out content-wise is absolutely amazing. And the thing with the content, it can be sometimes it can be very, let's call it dry. It could be a little bit, not real exciting. But the way you present it, it just really brings everything home to a person. They get a better understanding and appreciation of really what corrosion can do, and also to the point you mentioned earlier, that balance that needs to exist between corrosion protection through CP and protective coatings as well. So thank you for the content you put out there, and I encourage people to subscribe and also make sure you set your notification bells to get everything that's coming from you as well. Well, Doctor, thank you so much for this opportunity today.
Thank you. Thank you so much. In my YouTube videos, my point is to explain to people the way I would like someone to explain it to me. So I suppose that helps a lot.
No problem. And I know it's very late, I believe very late for you, or very early in the morning right now, correct?
It is a bit late, but that's fine. Not an issue at all.
Well, have a great rest of your day, and hopefully look forward to the next day. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. Thank you very much.